Picture this. You're in the middle of the grocery store, your toddler is screaming at the top of their lungs, and every single person is staring at you. Sound familiar? What if I told you there's a scientifically backed method that can stop tantrums in less than 3 minutes, and it works almost every single time? I'm talking about the 3-2-1 calming method, and it's about to change your parenting life forever. Here's the crazy part. Most parents are doing the exact opposite of what actually works, making tantrums worse without even realizing it. Stay with me because what I'm about to reveal will transform those nightmare meltdowns into manageable moments. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, step by step. Let me tell you something that might sting a little. Everything you've been told about handling tantrums is probably wrong. You know what most parents do? They either try to reason with a screaming toddler, "Sweetie, we talked about this," or they go straight to punishment mode. And you know what happens? The tantrum gets bigger. Here's why this matters. When your toddler is mid-meltdown, their amygdala, the emotional center of the brain, is completely hijacked. Think of it like their brain is literally on fire, and you're trying to have a logical conversation with flames. It doesn't work. A study from Yale University found that during a tantrum, a toddler's prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for reasoning, is essentially offline. You're not dealing with defiance, you're dealing with brain chemistry. The real problem? When we yell, threaten, or try to logic our way through, we're adding more stress to an already overwhelmed nervous system. It's like throwing gasoline on that fire. Your child's cortisol levels spike even higher, and suddenly what could have been a 2-minute tantrum turns into a 20-minute ordeal. But wait, there's something even more surprising that happens when we get this wrong. You're probably wondering, why does my sweet child turn into a tiny tornado over something so small? Here's the truth. It's never actually about the blue cup or the wrong-shaped sandwich. Let me paint you a picture. Your toddler's brain is developing at an insane rate, 700 neural connections per second during early childhood. But here's the catch. The emotional regulation center? That's still under construction. Imagine trying to drive a Ferrari with bicycle brakes. That's your toddler trying to manage big emotions with underdeveloped coping skills. Dr. Daniel Siegel, a clinical professor of psychiatry, explains it perfectly. Toddlers are operating from their downstairs brain, the primitive, reactive part, while their upstairs brain, logic and reasoning, won't be fully developed until their mid-20s. Yes, you read that right. Mid-20s. So expecting a 2-year-old to just calm down is like expecting a goldfish to climb a tree. Here's what's actually happening during a tantrum. Heart rate spikes to 120 to 140 beats per minute, breathing becomes shallow and rapid. Stress hormones flood their tiny system. Fight or flight mode completely takes over. The crazy part? Your toddler literally cannot access the part of their brain that would help them calm down. They're physiologically stuck. And this is where the 3-2-1 method becomes an absolute game changer. But before I reveal exactly how it works, let me show you why timing is everything. Here's something that shocked me when I first learned it. You have approximately 30 seconds to influence whether a tantrum escalates or de-escalates. 30 seconds. That's it. Miss that window, and you're in for a much longer ride. Think about the last tantrum you witnessed. What happened in those first crucial moments? Most parents, and I've been guilty of this too, immediately try to stop the behavior. Stop crying. You're fine. We don't act like this. But researchers at the University of Minnesota found that these responses actually extend tantrum duration by an average of 7 minutes. Let's be honest, 7 extra minutes of screaming feels like 7 hours, right? Here's the science behind that critical window. When a tantrum begins, your child's nervous system enters what's called the ascending phase. Their emotional arousal is climbing rapidly. If we intervene correctly in those first 30 seconds, we can prevent them from reaching the peak, that point of no return where they're completely dysregulated and can't come back down without fully exhausting themselves. The key insight. We're not trying to stop the tantrum in those first 30 seconds. We're trying to create the conditions for their nervous system to regulate itself. There's a massive difference. But here's where it gets interesting. The 3-2-1 method works with your child's nervous system not against it. Okay, here's what you've been waiting for. The 3-2-1 calming method is stupidly simple, but devastatingly effective. I'm going to break down each component so you can use this today. The 3 deep breaths, for you, not your child. This sounds ridiculous, right? Your kid is losing it, and I'm telling you to breathe? But here's why this matters. Your toddler is constantly reading your nervous system. Mirror neurons in their brain are literally mimicking your emotional state. If you're stressed, they feel it and escalate. If you're calm, they unconsciously begin to co-regulate. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system and drops your heart rate by 10 to 15 beats per minute. Your child will subconsciously register this shift. One parent told me this alone reduced her daughter's tantrums by 40%. Just by breathing first. The 2 physical anchors. Now you're going to provide 2 points of physical grounding for your child. Anchor 1, get down to their eye level, not hovering over them. That's threatening. Kneel or sit so you're face to face. This communicates safety instead of dominance. Anchor 2, offer gentle, consistent touch if they'll accept it. This could be a hand on their back, holding their hand, or light pressure on their shoulders. Touch releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which literally counteracts cortisol, the stress hormone. A study from the University of Notre Dame found that children who received consistent touch during distress recovered 60% faster than those who didn't. 60%! But here's the catch. If your child pushes you away, respect it. Some kids need space first. Just stay close and available. The one simple phrase, repeat it like a mantra. Here's where most parents mess up. They talk too much. What's wrong? Why are you crying? We talked about this. You need to calm down. Stop. Your child cannot process multiple sentences right now. Instead, choose one simple phrase and repeat it calmly. I'm right here. You're safe. I've got you. I'm not going anywhere. That's it. Same phrase, same calm tone, over and over. This creates a predictable anchor in the chaos. Their brain begins to latch onto the repetition, and it activates the vagus nerve, the main highway of the parasympathetic nervous system that promotes calming. Pro tip: say it at the same rhythm as a heartbeat. This subconsciously reminds their system of the safety they felt in the womb. Now here's what happens next that most parents don't expect. Quick thing. If you're finding this valuable, and you can already imagine using this method the next time chaos strikes, do me a huge favor and smash that like button. It genuinely helps other exhausted parents discover strategies that actually work. And subscribe if you haven't yet, because I'm releasing content like this every week to make your parenting life easier. Hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Now, let's talk about what happens after you use the 3-2-1 method. Here's something crazy. What you do in the 5 minutes after a tantrum matters more than what you do during it. This is the window where real learning happens, but most parents completely miss it because they're just relieved it's over. Let me explain. After a tantrum, your child's brain shifts into what neuroscientists call a plastic state. It's incredibly receptive to new neural pathways. This is the moment to build emotional intelligence and coping skills. But you have to do it right. Don't do this. Immediately jump back to normal or lecture them. See, that wasn't so bad. Now, are you going to behave? This teaches them nothing except that big emotions are shameful. Do this instead. Use the connection before correction approach. Step 1. Acknowledge what happened without judgment. Wow, you had really big feelings about that blue cup, didn't you? This validates their experience. Step 2. Name the emotion. I think you were feeling frustrated. Frustration is hard. You're literally building their emotional vocabulary. Step 3. Offer a tool for next time. Next time you feel frustrated, you can stomp your feet, squeeze a pillow, or come get a hug from me. Give them options, not orders. One mom in my parenting group implemented this, and within 3 weeks, her son started saying, "I'm frustrated," instead of throwing toys. 3 weeks! The post-tantrum window is where you're literally rewiring their brain. But you know what's even more powerful? Teaching them to recognize the signs before the tantrum hits. You know what's better than stopping a tantrum? Preventing it from happening in the first place. And yes, this is actually possible, but not in the way you think. We're not talking about avoiding triggers, impossible, or walking on eggshells, exhausting. We're talking about teaching your toddler to recognize their internal warning signs, what I call the rumbles. Think of it like this. Before a volcano erupts, there are tremors. Before a tantrum explodes, there are signals. The problem? Toddlers don't recognize them. But you can. Teach them. Here's how. During calm moments, never during or right after a tantrum, talk about feelings as physical sensations. When I feel angry, my chest gets tight and my hands make fists. What does your body do? Sometimes when people feel sad, their tummy hurts or their eyes get watery. Make it playful. Act out different emotions and ask them to show you what their body does. You're building interoceptive awareness, the ability to recognize internal states. Then, during daily life, narrate what you notice. I see your fists are clenched. I wonder if you're feeling frustrated. You're connecting the physical sensation to the emotion before it explodes. Real-world example. A dad I worked with did this for just 2 weeks. His 3-year-old daughter started saying, "Daddy, my chest feels hot," when she was getting upset. That's a miracle. That's a child who's learning to communicate instead of combust. But here's the part that really gets me excited, the long-term impact of this approach. Let's zoom out for a second. You're not just trying to survive today's tantrum, you're raising a future adult. And here's the part that should get you fired up. The way you respond to tantrums literally shapes their emotional intelligence for life. A longitudinal study from the University of Washington followed children for 20 years. The findings? Children whose parents responded to tantrums with calm connection instead of punishment or dismissal showed higher emotional regulation in adolescence, better relationship skills in adulthood, lower rates of anxiety and depression, greater resilience during stress 20 years later. The impact of these daily moments is massive. Here's what you're actually teaching when you use the 3-2-1 method. Your emotions are valid, even when they're inconvenient. I'm a safe person. You can trust me even when you're dysregulated. You can recover from hard moments. Resilience is a skill. Big feelings don't last forever. Emotional permanence. You know what's crazy? You're not just calming a tantrum. You're building the neural architecture for how they'll handle stress, conflict, and disappointment for the rest of their lives. Let's be honest, that's pretty incredible, right? The grocery store meltdown suddenly feels less like a nightmare and more like an opportunity. But I know what you're thinking. What if it doesn't work the first time? Real talk. The first time you try this, it might feel awkward. Your toddler might even tantrum harder initially, and that's completely normal. Here's why. If you've been using a different approach, yelling, timeouts, ignoring, your child has learned a pattern. When you suddenly change your behavior, they're going to test whether this new approach is real. Psychologists call this an extinction burst. Behavior gets worse before it gets better. Think of it like this. Imagine you've been putting coins in a vending machine and it always gives you chips. One day, it doesn't. What do? You push the button harder, shake the machine, maybe even kick it. You're testing to see if the old pattern still works. Your toddler is doing the same thing. Common challenges and fixes. My child won't let me touch them during a tantrum. Solution: respect their boundary. Just stay close, use your one phrase, and maintain calm energy. Some kids are space processors. The tantrum still lasts 10+ minutes. Solution: check the timing of your intervention. Are you waiting too long? Remember that 30-second window. Also evaluate if there are underlying needs: hunger, tiredness, overstimulation. It works at home, but not in public. Solution: public tantrums have an added layer: your stress about judgment. Practice your 3 breaths even more intentionally. Your calm is the foundation. Also, consider removing your child from the situation temporarily if possible, not as punishment, but as regulation support. The consistency rule: You need to use this method for at least 2 to 3 weeks before judging effectiveness. Neural pathways take time to form. One parent told me she almost gave up after a week, but by week 3, tantrums dropped from daily to 2 to 3 times per week. Stick with it. Now, here's the final piece that ties everything together. Want to supercharge the 3-2-1 method? Create a calm down kit with your toddler. This is a game changer because it gives them ownership over their regulation tools. Here's what to include. Keep it simple. 5 items max. 1. A sensory item. Stress ball, textured fabric, or kinetic sand. 2. A breathing tool. Pinwheel, bubbles, or a visual breathing guide. 3. A comfort object. Small stuffed animal or soft blanket. 4. A visual feelings chart. Simple faces showing different emotions. 5. A calm down book. Short book about feelings. Bonus points if it's about their favorite character. Decorate a small basket or box together during a happy moment. Let them choose what goes in it. When you use the 3-2-1 method, you can offer, not force, an item from the kit during the 2 phase. Here's the magic. Over time, your toddler will start asking for the kit when they feel overwhelmed. That's self-regulation in action. Pro tip from a veteran parent. Keep a mini version in your car and diaper bag. Tantrums don't wait for convenient locations, and having your tools accessible is everything. You're not just managing behavior, you're teaching lifelong coping skills. And that is the real win. Okay, let's bring this home. You just learned the 3-2-1 calming method. 3 deep breaths for you, 2 physical anchors for your child, and 1 simple phrase repeated calmly. Remember, you're working with their developing brain, not against it. This isn't about perfect parenting, it's about connection over correction. Now I'm curious, what's your biggest tantrum trigger? Bedtime battles or public meltdowns? Drop A or B in the comments because I want to know what you're dealing with. And if you have other tantrum questions, let me know what else you'd like me to cover. If this helped you, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss strategies that actually work. Thanks for being here, and remember, you're doing better than you think. See you in the next one.